with anxiety, I started having anxiety, panic attacks, trouble sleeping, and I no longer have that. I'm able to control that response. The biggest gift, I think, is not just my ankle, but I don't live in a place of fear anymore, and it doesn't dictate my life.
Hi, my beautiful ones. This is Dr. Maya Novak, a mindful healing expert, and today I have something a bit different for you. I invited one of my amazing clients, Tasha, to join me. And the reason why I decided to invite her is because I know that there are so many women out there who are experiencing exactly what Tasha was experiencing just a few months ago, who are feeling the same, who are looking for some hope, for some inspiration, and they just need, and you just need to hear this today. So that's the reason why I invited Tasha. And so, Tasha, without further ado, thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, thank you for having me, Maya. Yes, I am happy to share my story with anyone that is struggling with this.
It was so amazing to watch you grow and blossom and change, and with your ankle and everything. So, I still remember when we met just a few months ago, and things were a bit different back then than they are right
Absolutely.
now. So before we go into, what was happening and how you're doing now, can you shortly just explain what kind of injury you actually have and how did this happen? What actually happened with your accident?
So I had a trimalleolar fracture of my right ankle, and it happened on February the 8th, and I was late putting Christmas decorations away. I'd been begging my teenage daughter to help me put these Christmas decorations away for a while, and I got tired of seeing everything in my living room and it being cluttered and junky. So I said, "Oh, I'm going to take the Christmas tree down. So I packed everything up, packed all this stuff up in bins, and I have overhead storage in my garage. And so I got on a 6-foot ladder with these bins, and I looked at it and I said, I was like, I can do this. And then the second bin, I actually had this fleeting thought that maybe this might not be a good idea, but I ignored it and I got up there, and the weight of the bin shifted and it just sent me off the ladder. And I hit that concrete floor, and oh my goodness, I hit my head. And when I kind of realized what had happened, I just thought I was just, I was bleeding and everything. But then when I looked at my foot was facing the other way. I was hysterical. So that's how it happened.
Yeah. And what is so interesting about this story is that it happened at your home, right? So
Yes.
it was not somewhere outside where you can actually forget about, of that place, but that place
Right.
is always there and reminding you of, and which a lot of the times can also mean that fear is also stronger because you are
Yes.
constantly in that space.
Right. I thought that when when I was eventually able to walk and step down, and I looked down those steps, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I looked down, I was like, this is where the accident happened. I looked at the ladder and I said, I should probably throw that ladder away. But then I said, well, you know what? It's not the ladder's fault.
Mm-hmm.
The ladder didn't tell me to get on there.
Mm-hmm.
I made the decision to go up on that ladder
Mm-hmm.
without help, and probably shouldn't have done that at 48, but I did it anyway.
Well, there are
Yeah.
no coincidences. So
Mm-mm.
these accidents actually catapulted you into something better, into a better place. So, even though it was a not so pleasant experience, no accident is, now you are in a much better space as you were before.
Absolutely. Before, just to share some background, I'm a busy nurse practitioner, so I'm in healthcare, and I had decided that I was going to take on yoga teacher training at the exact same time. So I was 5 months into my 6-month program, and I was busy. So between work making sure that I attended regular yoga, and I wasn't eating right. I was just on the fly, trying to parent, take care of my house. I wasn't really taking care of myself. I wasn't resting. I was just go, 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 go. So I imagine if you're just too busy and not taking care of yourself, the universe just kind of stepped in and said, I'm going to sit you down so you can listen. I want you to fully absorb the teachings that we're trying to get to you. And after that, yes. So being stuck on the couch, I really I was forced to rest.
So tell me, what was actually the reason? Why did you decide to reach out to me and to explore how I can actually help you?
So I was just a hot mess. I was laying there. I was feeling very socially just isolated. Um, I was fearful. I didn't know, looking at this type of injury, um, how I was going to even walk again. And I just started watching YouTube videos about, injuries, and I came across your videos, and I was like, my goodness. I said, she's done something it's almost similar, identical to what I've been through. And you posted so much knowledge and information. And I said, I just have to talk to her. I need some help and guidance and make sure, because I'm at a, I don't think I'm a perfectionist, but maybe, but I have to make sure that that my ankle heals in the way it's supposed to, because you don't want to mess around with this type of injury. I didn't want to heal wrong. I wanted to make sure I was on track doing all the right things. So I said, I need help. I need guidance. And I need someone that could listen, not just to give me like physically, like the exercises and things like that, but I realized that I needed to hear some validation from someone that had been there. There's also emotions and feelings that go along with this type of injury too, which I found out later. Right.
Yeah. And I so have to acknowledge you and also say it out loud, that because many times when we feel overwhelmed or anxious or depressed and sad, hello, Luna, and
Yes. Yes.
and everything, a lot of the times we feel, oh, it's just me, it's just,
Right.
I'm the only person on this world that feels this way,
Mm-hmm.
because especially going to social media, everybody's happy and everything is
Happy.
fine, and then you
Right.
feel all of these emotions and this roller coaster. So sometimes you can actually feel like, oh, is something wrong with me, or am I the only one? And it's so
Oh,
important to
yes.
understand that it's not. And you're just explaining here that you've been there.
Oh, yes. I was upset, and I felt like, how am I gonna? I couldn't even get up to just to, when I realized I couldn't get up to even get a glass of water or feed myself. I mean, I'm used to depending on myself to get everything done. And then you just become from, I can do everything, to all of a sudden I have to depend on everyone to help me, including going to the bathroom, dressing, bathing. If I hadn't had any family or friends or support, I don't know what I would have done. So I had to reach out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I'm not used to reaching out. So,
Especially as a health professional who are
yes, we're the
always,
worst.
looking after others.
Yep.
And
We put ourselves last, and we're used to putting everybody else first, and not just health professionals, but I think as wives, as mothers, women, we tend to,
forget.
yes, we forget to take care of ourselves. We are our number one. We should be anyway. But I needed help. I was right. I was at that. I just I needed someone to listen to me.
And I'm so glad that you reached out, because, I see so many women in so similar situations as you are. And I know that it's possible for them, to change, and to also change, not like, oh, it's going to happen one day. But I know a
Right.
couple of weeks ago, we discussed, how extremely things changed for you in a relatively short period of time, not like years or
Mm-hmm.
decades, but like within weeks.
Within weeks. I did not think I was going to progress as fast as I did. So if I look at the timeline of events, and I've done all this research, and people, and they're like, oh, it could be 6 months from now. I mean, everybody's healing journey is different, but from the time I fell, February 8th, and then I had surgery February 20th to put my foot back together. So 4 plates, a million screws, and a hook thrown in there. And then they're like, well, 6 weeks non-weight bearing. But I believe I healed so fast because you said you never plant that seed of what you can't do, a limiting belief. And I did not tolerate anybody telling me what I can't do. And I'm kind of competitive too, so that probably helped too. But I wasn't going to listen. Like I listened to what all the all the podcasts and videos, and I tuned everything out. I didn't want to hear anybody saying, oh, you're going to have arthritis in your foot later, you may not be able to walk normally again. None of that. I didn't. Even my PT people were probably disgusted with me, because I did everything that I intuitively did, things that I thought made sense to me. And as soon as I got the green light to, even when I was laying there and I couldn't weight bear anymore, I could still do range of motion, and I could eat. I was eating, salads and making smoothies and doing the best of my ability to what I could do at that time. Reframing my mindset, meditating.
Thank you for saying that, because so very often, what I also hear is, oh, I just had an accident, so right now I actually cannot do anything. So let me reach out in a couple of months, or somewhere in the future when I'm gonna be more mobile and just being around more. And this is so extremely, may I say, wrong, because during that period of time, you actually can do so much internally, and this then has a positive effect on your body. Would you agree?
I do agree, because you have to, as soon as you have an injury as serious as that, your body is putting everything, you don't even realize, everything is going into all the nutrients, everything into healing that one particular injury. So your healing starts like immediately. As soon as it happens, you have got to shift your mind. You've got to go about making sure you have optimal nutrition, um, everything. You can't afford to wait until later to address these things, because that may hinder your healing later on. So you have to do what you um, can do as soon as the injury happened. I think that was a big difference for me in my recovery.
True. So, may I ask you, what can you name, for example, 3 top benefits that you experienced working with me? What are some of the top things that actually made a huge difference for you, your healing, your life?
Physically, you gave me tools to heal my body faster. Series of exercises, things that I could do that to give me the confidence to know that I could progress with um, exercising. And I immediately started doing that. I turned my home into like a little mini workout stuff. I purchased, things that it just looks like a little PT place, and it still does around here, with bands and everything. And um, so physically, I'm way stronger, even though I feel like I was at the peak of my strength before this accident happened. I know that I am way stronger now because you have given me my confidence back. I can now say no. I've reclaimed myself. Before, I had a big, I realized as we talked further and further, um, I had trouble saying no to things, and I would often take on things, and I'm a healer and a fixer, and I would try to solve the problems of someone else, and you can't take that on. And I learned to set boundaries for myself, and self-care, and to know that I am number one. I am my number one priority. And before I can heal anybody else, I have to put on my own oxygen mask. So, spiritually, um, I'm way more in tune. Like that tiny little voice that I heard right before I got on that ladder, that is that I believe that's your intuition. That is the universe. You need to listen to that, because that little voice was saying maybe you shouldn't, and I ignored that, and now I'm much more in tune with um, what is happening around me and not ignoring signs. So, I've started journaling. I meditate more, and I was not a journaler, and that I hate writing things down. I was like, oh, this is not going to work. This is like pulling teeth, and I have a book here.
And I am so extremely proud of you because of that, because I know that you had such resistance to actually write anything down. So we created this plan for you, you can actually then burn things.
Yes,
So it's not, you know,
yes, I
people are
did.
not going to find this. And, I'm so extremely proud of you because that was a big one.
That was a big one, right? And for anybody out there, yes, I was afraid to write anything down because I was scared of, should something happen, I live by myself, someone is going to come and find all my thoughts. Not that it matters, because I'd probably be gone anyway, but still, I didn't want them to know. So Maya says, well, go ahead and write it down, and then you can burn the stuff later. But it's the act of writing it down and releasing it. And I did do that. And I dressed up purposely for this, to release these unwanted thoughts and intentions, or things that no longer were in my best interest to serve me. And I did. I burnt them up and released it.
Exactly. And thank you so much for sharing this, the confidence and setting boundaries. And, what you said, I feel right now I'm stronger. You are stronger physically also because you are stronger internally, so mentally and emotionally. And, all of the things
Yes.
that we worked on is sometimes, women are like, yeah, but this doesn't have anything to do with the injury per se, right? So what does this have to do with
Oh,
the
yeah.
injury, and how does this actually help with healing? But exactly that, doing the internal work, it actually manifests then on the
Yes.
outside, and there is a speedy recovery, faster recovery, better recovery. So everything that you do internally, rearranging the furniture, if you will, inside, it
Yes.
has a major effect on the physical body.
It all has to be rearranged, and all of it. We are beings. We're energetic beings, and we have to pay attention to all the components of healing. So that is not just physical. Sure, you can do exercises, go to PT, and do all that, but there's spiritual, there's emotional, there's mental. All of that comes into play when you're talking about health and healing and wellness. And if you have unresolved issues, or things going on in your household, um, these things may affect the way that you heal. You may not be able to see that, but trust me when I say you need to resolve some of these things in order to allow true healing to occur. Because this injury may not, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way. It may, sometimes things happen because they're meant to teach. I believe they're meant to teach you a lesson. So, or they're there for your highest good. So, since I couldn't sit down and take care of myself, I now had the time to do that and work on myself,
So there is no
so to
more
speak.
excuse, one day. So when I have time, one day I'm going to work
Right.
on this.
Right. Nope. That one day is always going to be one day, and we only get so many one days.
Exactly.
So the time is now to start Don't wait for that one day, because one day may not be here. So invest in yourself now. We don't have control over our past. We don't have control over our future. All we have is what's right here in the here and the now. We do have control over that.
So you shared already a bit, how things were before we started together, and there was
Mm-hmm.
overwhelm, and you said it in your own words, I was
Mm-hmm.
a big mess. So, but can you
I was a
share a
bit
bit
mess.
more what was actually happening before you reached out? What was, and also what made you, because sometimes we have to come to a point where we say, enough is enough. I have to change this.
I was sad. I was lonely. Everybody was gone during the day. I had a good friend that came in to help, but my mother, she's older and she couldn't stay there with me around the clock. My teenager was angry at me because, this is one of the things that probably would have affected my healing too, and probably did initially. Um, I did lash out in anger. I kind of blamed her for the injury, because I said to her, if you had helped me put these things away when I asked you, I wouldn't have gotten up on that ladder. And that was really a terrible thing to say. And she had a tremendous amount of guilt, and it was very strained in the household. And she wasn't really talking to me. She was 17 at the time. She's 18 now, and I couldn't really talk to her, and it was just awful. So I had to. I knew something had to change. I mean, I really thought I had everything together, and then it just unraveled just like that. And I'm just sitting here. I was just like, oh my goodness. I was just crying like a baby. I went from this strong person and just independent, and I've got this, and all of a sudden, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have this.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then I saw your face pop up, and I was like, wow, she got it together. How I want that. Or at least you looked like you did. I was like, I want that. I need to get back to, I need that. I need her to help me get back to that, reclaim that part of myself. Hmm.
Yeah,
Some
and
guidance.
without going into much details because it's your relationship with your daughter, but would you say that after these few weeks slash months, your relationship with your daughter has improved as a part of this work that you were actually doing internally with my help?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had a conversation about, well, you opening up and being honest and discussing our feelings, and the feelings of, I mean, she could barely look at me, and I was so angry. So I had to release my anger, address that, and then think about how things looked from her point of view. So it turns out she felt extremely hurt, and she did feel guilty about what happened, and she had to, release that too, in order she had to heal. So she felt horrible about it, but her way of expressing it was to be kind of withdrawn, and she wasn't really speaking, not engaging. She was very depressed too. So I'm glad that you said you have to look at it from her perspective and address it like that. And we were able to repair that bond that we had and discussed it. And I was able to own my part of what I did. That was a big part of my ownership of the
Mm-hmm.
accident.
Taking responsibility.
Not shift Taking responsibility, not shifting the blame, and to let her know that I did not, what I said to her was out of frustration, fear, and anger, and I didn't mean to do that. But I'm owning my is my responsibility. Nobody told me to get up on that ladder.
And what I love about this mindful work is that you cannot work on one thing without seeing positive results in actually every single area of your life. So it's impossible to work on, healing your ankle from a different perspective, this mindful work, without seeing, look, your relationship with your daughter, and how you actually then act in your job, and other relationships and everything. So it's on every single level you actually change and grow, and more importantly, bounce forward. So you're not going back, you're bouncing
Yes.
forward.
I was not, I was feeling like I was stuck in the mud, and then I was able to move forward. I not only with my progress, at PT and here walking around the house and stuff, but even going back to work, I can remember that was a struggle when I finally did have to go back to work. And I think I I had to go back a little bit earlier than I wanted to, but I was like, God, I'm going to make this work. Went back to work on a knee scooter, and it was tough. And there were days where I felt like I could barely sit up because I had been laying on my back for so long. It's tough. People, when you're laying there and you start losing muscle, you're not as strong. It's a struggle to breathe. So you're like, how am I going to sit up for at least for like three, let alone 8 hours? And you do it. You do it. And I learned I'm more assertive at work, um, because if I can get through this, then I can certainly get through what is given to me at work. And so prioritizing, um, I've gotten a lot better with that, and also saying no to something, um, where maybe I would have said, "Oh, sure, okay, I'll do it." But if I cannot do it, then no, no, I'm sorry, I just can't get to that right now, and then maybe offer another solution. But
Yeah, I mean, setting boundaries is extremely important for healing.
yes,
So,
yes,
absolutely. So, let me ask you this. What surprised you the most, or perhaps made you happy the most about working with me?
you are like talking to a best girlfriend, right off the bat. I was not uncomfortable, and um, you made me feel safe and secure, and I was able to express, because you're very vulnerable when you experience a trauma or an injury, or you have to talk about feelings of guilt or shame, depression, and that's a lot for people to talk about. But I never felt ashamed to tell you anything, because I never there was no sense of judgment. I felt like I could tell you anything, and it's something either you were able to relate, or you had something similar. And I, in the end, it was just like talking to like a good sister girlfriend.
With a
That's
bag
how it
of
felt to me.
tools.
So with a bag of tools, exactly, right,
Plenty
plenty of
of
tools.
tools. Yes.
Yes.
Now, there are some women who are right now on the fence, and they're like, maybe or maybe not. I'm not sure. So, do you have any word of advice or anything that you would like to share with those who are right now on the fence and they are not sure if this is really the right thing for them or not?
I would say that you are your number one priority. And if you are on the fence about going through a coaching program, I would say do it, because this is your life we're talking about. This is not just a whatever injury that you've happened, an ankle injury or something. This is total life changing and with long lasting results. Sure, you can do PT and maybe get back on your feet and that sort of thing. But did you really get the opportunity to address some deeper things that you may not have realized were rooted or the underlying cause? And you are there every step of the way. It's not just like you check in like every week or 2 weeks. I could call you at, I don't know, probably wake you up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you would be there if I was having a panic attack or something like that, just every step of the way. And if you really want to optimize your healing, I really believe you need to take your um, I'm gonna say you do need a coach, to help. That's what I believe. And if you're on the fence about it, don't be. I have never regretted the investment. It was an investment in me and my health, and I've been given tools that are going to last me for the rest of my life. This is invaluable. You can't put a price on that. Cannot put a price on that.
Yeah. And I so agree because, even though there are so many tools that I shared with you, these are the tools that you can reuse it. It's not like, oh, one-time thing, but it's
Right.
again and again in different
Right.
situations and different people and again, which is the most, amazing thing. So it's, wash, rinse, repeat.
That's right. And we often have to wash, rinse, and repeat
Yeah.
in our daily lives, especially now. But it, I have clear guidelines, and I can always flip back and reference, and um, I can look back at my journal and my thoughts.
And also to
And
to say that you are a yoga teacher, you
mhm,
completed that even
yes,
with your recovering ankle, and you are back in your yoga positions and stuff.
yes.
So
Yes. Once I realized, after I got myself together, after our first initial interview, and I was able to, okay, I can see, I have some focus, and I was able to, okay, you got to get a grip, sister, right? And so that confidence, I said, okay, I have a plan, and I was able to finish my yoga teacher training. I taught from a chair with a cast on, and I did downward dog with a cast on, but I did. And the thing that was most interesting about this journey is that um, I I work at a place that serves veterans and people with trauma, and I had always thought that I was going to use my yoga and my training in a way to help give back to people that are suffering with pain, anxiety, and PTSD. And even before my accident, I expressed an interest in therapeutic or adaptive yoga, restorative yoga. Well, guess what? I was forced to do adaptive yoga for real. So
mhm.
now I have firsthand experience. Like I couldn't get into how am I going to get back into a downward dog? I couldn't even sit up on my yoga mat at my weakest point. And little by little, I was able to finally, I could get my heel on the floor. I was able to squat a little bit. I don't think that I would have been able to progress as fast without these tools. I really don't. It's really, it's not all just, it's, yes, the exercises are important, the physical exercises, but it's really your mind.
Mhm.
You have to, you have to plant that seed that I am going to get past this. I can do this. We can, there are no limiting beliefs.
Mhm.
So you are what you believe. So you really need to,
You are always
focus on,
right. And, with a little
yes,
bit of help, you can get there
yes,
much faster, because this is the most
absolutely.
important thing. I mean, yes, we can do things on our own, but the journey is
Right,
going to be longer.
right. And you have compiled a wonderful repertoire of tools, and you've already done the research. I was too tired to do all that.
Mhm.
I probably could have compiled something. I had books on trauma and yoga and exercising, but I was too tired. I was too weak. You had a plan already laid out, and I said, okay,
Let me just drive here. This is
yes,
already done.
sign me up. It's already done. Give me my exercises for my ankle. Show me what I need to do. I give up. I'm waving the white flag. Come in and help me organize my life again. It's like organizing your closet,
Oh,
like
Tasha,
that.
I so enjoy this conversation. I mean, here are so many golden nuggets, and I know that so many women can relate, and I know that
Hmm.
your story and what you shared and how you changed, this really inspired so many right now. And I'm truly, truly grateful for you to be here to share this, to give hope, and to also show that, yeah, in basically in 3 months, you can go
Yes.
from overwhelm and anxiety and sadness and crying almost every day to being
Right.
confident and happy and
Confident.
have great relationships with loved ones. And,
That's right.
this can happen really fast.
Right. Yes. And I am walking. I am walking in regular shoes, sneakers. My doctor, I had an excellent doctor, and he says, when it was time to start weight bearing, he says, well, he says, the next time you see me, I want you to come in here, walking in regular shoes. And I looked at him like he had like horns growing out of his head or something like, and it is possible. So now I am. I'm walking. I can hop. I can jump. I can skip. It may not be a perfect skip or hop, but I am doing it. So, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tasha. I'm so extremely proud of you. And of course, you are watching this interview, if there is a part of you that is saying, you know what, I would really like to speed up my recovery. I would like to change my recovery. I would like to actually explore what is possible for me, what kind of healing potential I have, and what can I do with that. If there is a part of you that is saying that, then I really invite you to reach out, to go to my website, to mynovak.com/discovery, schedule a call with me, and let's discuss how can my expertise help you on this healing journey.
Oh, yes, you won't regret it. It's the best decision I ever made. Yes, absolutely. Hands down.